Selection sort. Selection sort is a sorting technique where we repeatedly find the smallest or largest element in a list and place it in the correct position by swapping it. Now let us see an example for the selection sort. Let us consider an array of numbers 7, 3, 9, 2 and 5 which need to be sorted using selection sort. Step 1. In the first iteration, we take a look at the entire array and find the smallest element. In this entire array, the smallest element here is 2. This 2 needs to be swapped with the first position of the array, that is with 7. After swapping, we get the array as 2, 3, 9, 7, 5. In this array, we declare 2 and 3 as sorted arrays and 9, 7 and 5 as unsorted arrays. In the second iteration, we find 3 as the smallest element, but here no swapping request because 3 is already placed in its right position. So we move to the next iteration. In the third iteration, we find 5 as the smallest element. So we swap 5 with 9, which is the first element of unsorted array subarray. After swapping 5, we get 2, 3, 5, 7 and 9. In the fourth and final iteration, the given unsorted array becomes sorted. So the sorted array for the given unsorted array is 2, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Now let us take a look on the code. Now let us take 5 elements. Let us take the elements which are used in the example. Let us assume position as a temporary variable. This one is the main part of our question. In this we get two for loops, the outer for loop and the inner for loop. The outer for loop is used for iterations, whereas the inner for loop is used for tracing out and swapping out the elements. Let us take a look. Here, when I is less than or equal to n minus 1, position get incremented by 0, which we already declared here. And we enter into the second for loop. For j is equals to I plus 1, j is equals to I plus 1. That means j is equals to 0 as we taken I is equals to 1, which is less than 5. Now we enter into the if loop. If array of position, that is a of 0 is greater than a of 1, which is true, we increment j by position. Next, a of 1 greater than a of 3, which is true, we increment position with 2. A of 2 is greater than a of 3, which is true, we increment position by 3. Two is less than 5, which is not true. Then swap This process continues. With this, one iteration is completed and array I gets incremented to +1, and as I is less than or equal to 4, I position gets incremented by 2, and the for loop runs on till the iteration is until the iteration and tracing is completed. These are the time complexities of worst case, best case, average case, and worst case. The best case in this time complexity is means when the array is already sorted, the time complexity becomes run of array. Whereas in the cases of best and average case and best case, when the array is jumbled or given in the descending order, the time complexity will always be big O of n square. Here is the code written in offline compiler and the output for the given code of an example. And this is the second example and the output. Now let us see bubble sort algorithm. Bubble sort algorithm is an algorithm which goes on repeatedly throughout the list, comparing the adjacent elements and swapping them till we get the array sorted. Let us consider an example: 5, 2, 8, 1, 4. Let it, in this first pass, 5 and 2 are placed in 5 and 2 are placed in wrong position. Since 2 is smaller than 5, we need to swap those conditions. Next, in the second step of the first part, 5 and 8 are placed in 5 and 8 are placed in right position, so swapping is not required. But here 8 and 1 are not placed in right position, so swapping is required. After swapping, we get the array like this. In this third step, 8 and 4 are not in the correct position, so swapping is required. After swapping, the largest element 8 is moved to the last. So the first pass is done. Similar to the first pass, the second path is given. 2 and 5 are in the correct order, but 1 and 5 are are not in correct order, so swapping is required. After swapping, we get the array as 2, 1, 5, 4, and 8. In this array, 5 and 4 are not placed in the correct order, so we need to swap them. After swapping, we get 1, 4, 8, 5, 8. In this also, the second largest element, that is 5, is moved towards the last but one position. In the third pass of the first step, 2 and 1 are placed wrong, so swapping is done. After swapping, the array is 1, 2, 4, 5, and 8. In the second step of the third pass, 2 and 4 are always in the same direction, so swapping is not required. Third pass is also done. In the fourth and final pass, there are no swappings required because the given array is already sorted. So the sorted array for the given unsorted array is this one. Now let us take a look at the code. This is the major part of the code, same as our insertion sort. The code here also the code contains two for loops, the outer for loop and the inner for loop. The outer for loop is used for passes, whereas the inner for loop is used for tracing, traversing, and swapping. In this case, if we observe that, in this case, if we observe I is less than or equal to I is 0, means 0 is less than or equal to n minus 1. If we declare n as 5, then we get 4. Then it's true, and this enters into the second for loop. If j is 0, 0 is less than 3, then it enters into the if for loop. If AR of 0, ARR of jth position of R 0 is less than 4, then swapping takes place. Then we increment j plus plus. If 5 is greater than 2, then ASCII swap takes place. And again 2 is less in the next, and in the next j plus, when j is equals to 3, when j 2 is less than 4, swapping does not takes place. Sorry, swapping takes place and the elements get swapped. This process continues until we get the sorted array. Time complexity. Here, when the already array is sorted, the time complexity becomes big O of n. Whereas for average case and in the worst case, time complexity becomes an order of n square when they both are in jumbled order or in descending order. This is the code for bubble sort array and the output of the bubble sort array with example 1. This is the code for bubble sort array and the output for a bubble sort array. This is example 2. I hope you liked my presentation. Thank you.